world will continue to journey down a path marked by a troubling absence of fear for God, a trend prophesied in the book of Revelation. One of the most powerful moments in Revelation is the proclamation made by 3 angels who will fly across the sky, visible and audible to people around the globe. These angels will move across the world, delivering messages that set the tone for the end times. Visible to everyone, they will preach to the entire world, from the deserts of Saudi Arabia to the islands of Mauritius. Revelation 14, verses 6 to 11. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. What we are focusing on is the message of the first angel. The angel's proclamation is not a suggestion. The fact that the angel's first words are fear God reveals 2 profound truths. First, it emphasizes the essential nature of fearing God. This fear isn't a minor detail, but a fundamental starting point for understanding and relating to him. To fear God means to respect, honor, and recognize his supreme authority, understanding that he alone holds power over life, death, and eternity. This type of fear is not a superficial respect, but a deep, reverent awareness of his holiness and justice, inspiring us to live righteously and humbly. Second, this command highlights the state of the world. The need for such a clear, urgent message points to a world that has largely abandoned the fear of God. A society that no longer respects his authority or holiness is a society adrift, increasingly embracing rebellion, blasphemy, and moral decay, signs of a world headed towards judgment. But as we step into 2025, we see a global society moving in the opposite direction, mocking what is sacred and dismissing the idea of fearing the Almighty. The first angel's warning serves as a call to remember who God is and how far the world has fallen from acknowledging him. Instead of embracing the fear of the Lord, our world increasingly delights in irreverence. We see evidence of this lack of fear in the culture, media, and actions of society at large, and the warning signs are only growing stronger. Our current trajectory is toward a time when the very concept of fearing God will seem foreign and even offensive to many. The world is gradually losing the fear of God, a shift evident in how society views reverence and respect for him. In the past, even criminals held a sense of respect for God that seems rare today. For example, it was once common practice for people, including criminals, to remove their hats when passing a church. This act wasn't merely ritual. It demonstrated an understanding that places of worship were sacred, deserving of respect regardless of one's lifestyle or beliefs. Today, however, this sense of reverence has diminished, replaced by an increasingly casual or indifferent attitude toward God and the sacred. The absence of the fear of God has become startlingly apparent in recent events. Consider, for instance, the recent Paris Olympics. where the opening ceremony included a mockery of Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. This performance featured drag performers and entertainers, making it inherently blasphemous in nature. Out of all the stories and symbols that could have been celebrated, they chose to focus on a moment held sacred by Christians around the world, showing no respect for what is holy and pure. This kind of display is not merely a lack of respect. It's a blatant disregard for the fear of God. This mockery is not an isolated incident, but part of a larger trend, one that will likely continue and grow in 2025 as society moves further away from God. We live in an age where even the concept of blasphemy is increasingly seen as outdated or unnecessary. Popular culture and entertainment often test the boundaries of what is sacred, pushing the limits in ways that would have been unimaginable a few decades ago. Another notable example is the massive popularity of The Da Vinci Code, a novel by Dan Brown, and later a film directed by Ron Howard. This work generated significant backlash, as it presented a version of Christ's life that was not only fictional but deeply offensive to many Christians. The story suggested that Jesus Christ was married to Mary Magdalene and had a child, creating a bloodline supposedly preserved through secret societies over the centuries. This premise is not only false, but also a grievous distortion of the truth. It is blasphemous and wicked. The audacity and sheer wickedness and sheer lack of the fear of God to invent and circulate such a narrative comes from a world that does not fear God, a world that, rather than revering Him, prefers to distort the sacred for profit and entertainment. And as we look ahead to 2025, we must brace ourselves for more of this disregard.